to Tina's Test Kitchen. Recently, my niece Emily DeTrompany asked me if I would make a cheesecake video. She's thinking that her Auntie T is very, very fluent in making cheesecakes. Never made one. So, what's a girl to do? I searched the internet to try and find a recipe, and I found one. We are going to do an Oreo cheesecake. This one does call for a no-bake cheesecake. However, I'm going to make the crust from scratch. So let's go over those list of ingredients. You're going to need some Oreos. So for the crust, we're going to use 24 ounces of crushed Oreos. That I'm going to also use 4 tablespoons of unsweetened melted butter. You're going to put that in the bottom of your pie dish. You're going to make sure it's all evenly distributed across the bottom, and you'll bake this at 350 for about 8 to 10 minutes. Now for the filling, again, more Oreos. We'll have a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We have our 8 ounces of softened Philadelphia cream cheese, our Cool Whip, and it does call for regular sugar. I'm going to swap that out for Splenda, and we're going to use a 1/4 cup. I know you're thinking, why swap out the sugar for Splenda? Because I have to cut back where I can. This is cheesecake, you guys. So let's get started. Okay, so we have our bowl here. I have it sitting on a scale so that way we know how many cookies are 24 ounces. I have my melted butter. So let's just go ahead and start packing in the Oreos. And then I also have my blender here too, you guys. I'm gonna use my blender here to get the cookies to a very fine, like powdery dust kind of thing. So, wow, all right, we're already down 1 package of Oreos. And I swear I didn't even eat one. And these are one of my favorite cookies. So let's go ahead and continue. All right, we're almost done. All right, 1 pound, 6 ounces equals 24 ounces of cookies. Okay, these other cookies we are gonna set aside. Again, I promise I'm not eating any. These we're gonna set aside to decorate the top of our cheesecake. So let's get started with our blender. Just gonna randomly stick the cookies in there. Being careful not to pack too many in there just because you don't wanna crowd anything. And then you guys, this is probably gonna get pretty loud. All right, here we go. Okay, you're just gonna continue this process until all of your cookies are finely chopped, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, we're all set, and as you can see, we have what looks to me to be like Oreo pixie dust. It is very fine. There's no big chunks. Blender does a good job. Now we're going to go ahead and add our 4 tablespoons of our softened unsweetened butter. I just found an Oreo chunk. And that was a pretty big chunk. Okay, so once we get this all mixed together, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the pie dish, make sure it's all nice and flat, and then we are gonna go ahead and get it in the oven for about 10 minutes. Okay, so now that we're all done mixing our base for our cheesecake, you guys, the recipe says that the consistency should look like wet sand. I don't know. Again, I've never made cheesecake before, guys, so we're all in this together. So I'm gonna go ahead and add it to the bottom of my pie crust or my pie dish. And then I'm going to flatten it out, make sure that everything is all evenly distributed. And then I'm going to make sure that I pat it down. And we will get this in the oven, again, for about 8 to 10 minutes. All right, as you can see, there's pretty much an even layer going all the way around, and it looks like it's packed down pretty good, so I'm gonna get it in the oven. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so we have our softened cream cheese in our bowl. I'm now gonna add my vanilla extract as well as my 1/4 cup of Splenda. teaspoon of vanilla extract, so we're good there. And here is my 1/4 cup of my Splenda. And we're just gonna mix these together, blending well until it's mixed completely. And then once it's mixed completely, I'm gonna go ahead and fold in our Cool Whip. Okay, that's all blended nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add in our Cool Whip, adding a little bit at a time, folding it as I go. Now you guys, it did also call for adding a few of the crushed Oreos to the mix once I'm all done. So these are my crushed Oreos that I'm going to have, and I still have plenty left over for the garnish on the top or the decoration. Now the pie crust is still in the oven. It probably has like maybe about another 1.5 minutes. And then we're gonna let that cool completely before adding this ingredient. And then we're going to stick it in the fridge. It'll chill for about 2 to 3 hours, and then we will give it a try. All right, so now we have this all set. I'll give you guys a peek to see what it looks like. It says that it should look like all light and airy and fluffy. And to me, that looks about right. So now we're gonna go ahead and add in our other crushed Oreos that we did. That's gonna go into the mix. And again, I'm gonna make sure that that is all mixed thoroughly. Just again, folding everything in to make sure it's evenly mixed. And you have an Oreo cookie in each bite. All right, our pie crust just came out of the oven, and you guys, it smells amazing. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added the Oreos, and as you can see, it's mixed up very well. So we will let our pie crust chill for a little while. We'll add our filling, and back in the fridge it goes for just a few hours. All right, so our crust is nice and cool, so is our filling. So now I'm gonna go ahead and scoop the filling into the pie crust. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure that it's evenly distributed onto the pie crust. And then I'll do something decorative on the top with the leftover cookies. And then we will have an Oreo cheesecake. Emily, you better be proud of this. All right, so let's see how I did. Oh, not bad. All right, I'm gonna get this finished and then we'll decorate the top. All right, you guys, now I'm gonna go ahead and decorate the cheesecake. Again, I know I've said this before, I don't have piping bags because I'm not usually too much of a baker, but I have put some Cool Whip inside a Ziploc baggie at an angle, and I'm just going to cut off the one corner so that way I can decorate the cheesecake. Again, it does not look perfect by any means, you guys. And then with the remaining Oreos that I had my husband chop them up very, very small. He actually did a pretty good job, just like the blender did. Now I'm just going to sprinkle the Oreos on the top. All right, and there we have it. We have one cheesecake that is complete. Doesn't look too shabby, if I do say so myself. So we have an even layer of the crust as well as the pie filling. We have some whipped cream on the top and some crushed Oreos. I'd say not too bad. Now let's give it a try. Okay, so here we have the cheesecake. So I have equal parts of cookie crust and the Oreo filling of the cheesecake, as well as a little bit of whipped cream. So let's give it a try. It tastes just like cheesecake. I'm actually surprised, you guys. This is the first time I've ever made a cheesecake, and it actually came out really, really good. I'm so impressed. It might not, it's obviously not going to look professional, but it is delicious. It's an easy, no-bake cheesecake that you can make. It doesn't take very much time. I think the prep time on this was maybe 10 minutes. The cook time for the crust ended up being 7 minutes at 350, and that's not too bad either. And then a few hours in the fridge to chill. This, you guys, is a very, very good, quick, easy option for dessert. Calorie-wise, I don't know where we sit at because I didn't do any of that because, again, this isn't something I normally eat. But it is delicious. All right, if you guys want to see more creative videos, please let me know in the comments if you guys have any suggestions. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, bye, everyone.